The upset alert meter is kind of peaking. I went back and watched the video we did last week, and we were all over all these upsets that happened. So, is Auburn going to upset LSU? Let's start with that one. That one is a LSU minus 11.5 point line right now. Auburn's off a bye. You're going to see a lot of these situations this week. It's middle of the season now, so you got a lot of rested teams versus teams that have played, in LSU's case, back-to-back road games. You notice something that happened last week. LSU went on the road, they won, and all of a sudden it seems like a lot of people's concerns were eased. And you shouldn't have your concerns eased because they're still there. And you're playing a team, conversely, in Auburn that everyone thinks is terrible, and they just had a bye week. And here's what I am concerned about. Here's why I'm putting a 7.25 on the upset alert meter here. This bears close watching. Auburn's defense is good enough to keep them in games. And I also think that any offense runs the risk of finding itself against LSU's defense. Now, here's the bonus. Here's the plus for LSU. They're giving you a home game down there. I believe this is a night kickoff. Jesse, please check that. That's irresponsible of me. Okay, it's a night game. All right, so it is their birthright in Baton Rouge to have home night games and conference play. And here you go. Here's one. I think LSU is going to win the game. I am not predicting the outright upset, but I do think this one bears close watching because I don't like when very flawed teams win a game and then they've got a team that they're barely favored by double digits over the next week and everyone goes, all right, well, we'll get right this week. No, you could be in another dogfight this week. So be heads up and be prepared. You're better than Auburn. So was Georgia. How'd that game look in the fourth quarter? Louisville. Louisville's at Pitt this Saturday. Did you know that? Louisville, most famous recently for doing things like upsetting Notre Dame, featured on this show prominently last week, might I add. Louisville minus 7.5. I don't love the spot at all for Louisville. As many friends as I made up in Louisville because we picked them last week, I don't like the spot. So you know that it's a natural letdown spot. Everyone can see that. Did you know Pitt was off last week? Did you know they benched the quarterback? And we love backup quarterbacks on this show. You find someone in life who loves you like we love betting on backup quarterbacks in college football, and you will live long and healthy and happy for the remainder of your days. Speaking of your days, if your days take you to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this Saturday, carry a poncho. Bradley's been inexplicably walking around the office with an umbrella the past 3 days. You'll need it if you're in Pittsburgh Saturday. It's going to rain. It's going to rain a lot. It's going to be ugly. It's basically like Pat Narduzzi got to personally dial up the forecast for this one. Don't get Narduzzi'd. This is a very dangerous spot for Louisville. Everyone's starting to look ahead. Here it is. Colin's showing you right now. Everyone's looking, after you beat Notre Dame, at the remainder of their schedule. And everyone's starting to realize what we told you in July. They don't play a really difficult schedule. And so they're looking at Duke, and they're saying to themselves, yeah, Duke's good, but they got to come here. Riley Leonard's been questionable lately. The two Virginia schools are trash right now. We should beat them, no problem. And we go to Miami, that could be tough, but by that point, maybe Miami's a shell of themselves. Maybe they've imploded, and also we're on a roll, and then Kentucky's not a conference game. You mark my words. They're starting to look at ACC championship ticket prices there in Louisville, and you got Pitt this Saturday, and it's a conference game. I put an 8.75 on it. I think there is a very, very good chance this is close in the fourth quarter. Very good chance. Arkansas is at Alabama Saturday. Arkansas is a 20.5-point dog. The model leans very, very slightly towards Arkansas plus the points. It's their fourth straight game on the road. Told you about this in August, and this is it. This is the end of that stretch. I was going over this with Jesse earlier today, and he said, that can't be right. That's impossible. And I said, go ahead, Jesse, take a look. And sure enough, there it is. They went to LSU. Then they played A&M, but they played them in Dallas. Translation, they got on an airplane. Then they went to Ole Miss, and now they go to Alabama. It should never, ever happen in the NFL or college. Should never happen, but it happened. Arkansas has been on the road an entire month. And the net result is you get to end it against Alabama. Alabama coming off a big-time win. So anyway, there is the letdown potential here with Bama coming off A&M. There's the look-ahead potential because they got Tennessee on deck. I just think to myself, If you can't run the ball consistently, and they can't, well, they haven't been able to. Let me not say they can't. They haven't been able to run the ball consistently. The offense has been turnover prone at times. They have racked up sacks allowed every single week. What that means is there is a lot of variance in potential outcomes week over week. You can't be taking this stuff for granted. So I'm not calling an upset here. Like, I put it in the 4.5 range, but you got to take this game seriously. This Bama team's not cruising at an altitude where they can be overlooking conference opponents right now. 4.5, and let's see how they look. Colorado is at Stanford really quick. Last time Colorado was favored, anyone remember how that turned out? Yes, you do, because virtually every one of you was watching Colorado State versus Colorado at about 2 a.m. on the East Coast. Stanford, coming off the bye. This is Colorado's 7th game in a row. Stanford's not good. I know that. That's why Colorado's favored by double digits. Colorado is at their most vulnerable from a health standpoint right now. Stanford is whatever the best version of themselves they'll be all year. This weekend, just I don't know, because it's still too early to tell. I don't know how much we can trust Colorado in the favorite role. I mean, double-digit favorite role especially. We've seen it once, and it was Colorado State, and Colorado State took them down to the wire, took them to overtime. One more here. By the way, I put a 6 on the upset alert meter for that one. I'm going to put a 7 on this game. Utah's going to Cal. This game's totally off the radar. Utah's minus 11.5. They're in the thick. It's 10.5 now. They're in the thick of the Pac-12 championship race. We assume they'll be without Jesse again this week, and by that I mean Cam Rising, quarterback, may or may not start, and there's been a lot of question around that. If you don't have him, this offense is not good. There is therefore a very low margin for error, and that means even though there's every reason in the world for you to be favored by 10 because you count on your defense showing up, Cal has pretty quietly put up some decent performances as of late. They hung with Oregon State last week. They put 32 on Washington. And look, if you can score, just if you can randomly pop one or two here, and Utah goes in there and maybe has limited possessions, and all of a sudden they look pretty tough, it looks pretty tough on them again, I'm going to put a 7 on this one, only because Utah's got that bye on deck. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. I don't know. I think weird things are still to come out in the Pac-12. I have concerns. I'll be honest. I have concerns. So that's the upset alert meter for this week.